Good evening. Good evening, everyone, dear teachers. Thank you very much for joining us today in our last spring webinar. And it says here the title, How to Align Your Learning Experience to the Common European Framework by Ms. Loyola, who is going to be the speaker. Okay, we have to continue. So this is our 13th spring webinar and the last one, as I told you before. And please, just to remind you, just to remind you that you please, members and non-members, please follow up through our through the media. Okay, so we have the Facebook, we have the WhatsApp, the Telegram, YouTube, and TikTok. We have lots of members and followers through this media. Okay, so instructions are very important, okay, for today's webinar. And please, what you have to do, okay, when this session or the speaker finishes is to type your questions in the comment section, and the speaker is going to reply, okay, every question at the end of the webinar. Don't forget that you have to consider the exit ticket for you to be able to receive all the materials and to be part of today's webinar in order to get your certificate. Okay, so the exit ticket will be available for 15 minutes only. Don't forget that. Please pay attention. And about the speaker today, this is about Ms. Loyola. Well, let me tell you first of all that today's session is about how to align your learning experience to the Common European Framework. This is a very interesting webinar. Thank you to Ms. Loyola. Well, we are going to learn more today. Ms. Oyola is an experienced English teacher who holds a master's degree in education with a concentration in curriculum design, a Fun English General Manager who participated in the design of national curriculum for basic education and English program. So dear Ms. Oyola, you are very welcome and thank you very much for being with us today. So the floor is yours, so let's get started. Ms. Loyola.
Hello, Consuelito. Thank you very much for the introduction. Thank you all teachers that you are joining us today for this webinar. I am very excited to have the honor to be the last webinar of this series of spring webinars that a team has been delivering for all of you. So as Consuelo was saying, today the topic is how to align your learning experiences to the Common European Framework, but also highlighting some important information that the English program from the national curriculum also state. So I don't know if I have the power already, Consuelito. Yes, I guess I have the power now. So
yes.
Okay, thank you. So now that I have the power, I am sharing my screen. And as usual, today I am using Kahoot for us to play. So please, I would like you to help me with sharing the link for Kahoot and also the game pin. Remember that you have the QR. So if you have a very fancy cell phone, just scan the QR so you can just type your name and you are part of the game already. Okay. So Remember, Kahoot is www.kahoot.it, and the game pin is 7060868. Yes, in some seconds, we're sharing the information in the YouTube chat. And if you want to make it faster, just use your cell phone and scan the QR, okay? And you can get into the game. Remember to type your name. You can write your name or your nickname. There is no problem with that. So I am enlarging the QR, so it's going to be easier for you. So yeah, okay, so we have people already joining us, and you have now a more fancy way to get connected to Kahoot, because now you have like a tiny happy face there. There are some worlds, some pandas, some monsters, some bears, so it's gonna be fun. So while you are joining us, so far, how many people we have? Let's see. We have 5 people now. We have to wait a little more. I can see that people are joining us from different places in the world, because it's not only from Peru, but I can see that I have people from Bolivia. I have people from Ecuador. Thanks for joining us today. I have also people from Junín. Yes, I have people from different parts today who are joining us in today's session. Remember that today's session is how to align your learning experiences to the Common European Framework. So far we have 19 people. We're just waiting for you. Let me know if you have some inconveniences to joining us so we can help you, okay? I am super ready. I'm paying attention to the chat, so just let me know. Oh, Estela is telling, hey, Mexico is here as well. So hello, Mexico. Thank you for joining us today as well. Thank you very much. Now we have 33 people. Let's see if we can get some more people joining us today. If, remember, you have some difficulties in getting connected through Kahoot, you can also use the chat to answer some of the questions we are asking today for have a participatory activity. So you have a participatory workshop. I have people from Huancayo. I have people from Pisco. Yes. Remember that you have 2 options to get into Kahoot. You can use the scan, and you can use your cell phone, sorry, to scan the QR, or you can use here www.kahoot.it and then insert the game pin 7060868. Remember that it's pinned in the top of the chat, so you can just copy and paste, and it's going to be easier for you. I have people also from Colombia, from Chile. So hello, thank you for joining us today. I am extremely happy to have you here today. So far, we are more than 200 people in YouTube. And in Kahoot, we have 45 people. So let's see if we can get some more people there. So it's going to be more excited. Hi, lady. Thanks for ladies. So excited about participating in the Kahoot and in the workshop. So thank you very much for that. We have people from Iquitos, from Ica, from Callao. Welcome from Cusco in Machu Picchu. So thank you very much for joining us today. I know it's Saturday and we are probably having some very nice plans, but we prefer studying and learning more, right? Because we're extremely professional. So thank you for joining us today. So, okay, I guess so far we have 50 people, and maybe it is time to start. Oh my gosh, it's like a lot of people. So that's very nice. So let's see. I love having in Kahoot these beautiful faces like brains and monsters and owls and puppies. It's very nice. Okay, I have people from Nazca. They're saying hello. From Ancash, Apurimac. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for being ready for Kahoot. I guess that you already know that I am usually using these softwares to make more participatory workshops. So thank you for being ready. Doris is a unicorn. I'm so excited about that. Hello, Ayacucho. Thank you for joining us today, Jane. Thank you very much. Oh, hi, Jane from Nazca. I have people from Nazca as well. Okay, Moyobamba. Hello, Puno, my dear Punito. Okay, hello, hi, from Lambayeque. I have people from Lambayeque, from Arequipa, from Ecuador again. Hi, Catherine. Okay, so now it's time to start. Ready? Okay, I am starting the Kahoot now. Remember that this is going to be a presentation and a game. So you can see some parts of the games in your cell phone, but the other parts are going to be shown in your screen. Okay. So hello, Chiclayo, Trujillo, and Lima. Thank you very much. Okay, so here we are. Are you ready for the workshop? True is blue and false is red. What is your response? I am ready for the workshop. Oh, only 2 people reply this answer. Remember, you have to be very active in the workshop so you can really reply to all the questions, okay? So don't worry, this is fine. Maybe you can share some of your, maybe you can tell me if you're ready for the workshop in the chat. Can you tell me if you're ready? Oh yeah, you're sad. It says, I couldn't answer. Don't worry, it's fine. It says, yeah, Robert is super ready. And Celia said, true. And say, hey, of course, we're ready from Moyobamba. Yes. Okay, thank you very much. No, don't worry. This was just testing. Okay. So it is time to start. Okay, who answers this question? We have Fabi. Congratulations, Fabi. Fabi was the first place on this response. And we have Orieta in number 2. And then Estela, Sarilu, and Lorena with no points, but they are in the podium. Okay, so let's start right away. So, oh, wait a minute. I am enlarging this. Is full screen? Yes. Okay, so remember, the topic of today is how to align your learning experiences to the Common European Framework. Yes? So, the objective of today, just to have a clear understanding of how it's going to be the process of this workshop. Number 1, we are analyzing the English program, which is based on the national curriculum. Then we are identifying the key elements of the national curriculum and Common European Framework to use these key elements in the design of your learning experiences. And as number 3, we are designing some learning experiences. Well, not all of them, but just some little parts of it. Okay, so these are the objectives. And as we're talking about the English program and we're talking about the national curriculum, it's impossible not to define what the competency is. So according to the national curriculum, competency is the faculty of a person to combine capacities to achieve a specific goal in one particular setting, behaving appropriately and ethically. This is the competency, and this is the definition that we use for all the areas and for all the competences in all the areas of the national curriculum, right? And my question now, I would like you to reflect on, this is the competency. I'm pretty sure that we all know this definition very well, but let's try to reflect on, okay, this is for the competency on general basis for all the subjects, but how if I try to specify how the competency is for the English area? What kind of capacities, what kind of goals, what kind of settings we are supposed to achieve as the competency for the English area in our students? So now it's time for question number 2. So, oh, sorry, it's this one. Okay, so this is the next question. I was asking you to reflect on the competency for the English area. So the question now is, when talking about competencies, what is expected from the English area learners to do according to the national curriculum? What is expected for English learners to do, to learn, to achieve according to the national curriculum? Okay, we have plenty of time this time. So remember, you have to type your response. You have to type your answer. Yes. What do you think we are supposed to achieve on our students for the English area? What are they supposed to be able to do? What are they supposed to be able to learn? What are they supposed to be able to be competent about? Yes. Let's see. I have 3 answers so far. Oh, there are some people that are a little bit worried about the time for Kahoot. Don't worry, because that was just question number 1. The rest of the questions have more time, so don't worry about it. Okay, you will have plenty of time to respond. So far we have 6 answers. I am worried because we are like more than 50 people in Kahoot, so we need to be more. Okay, we have 12. Remember, the national curriculum, what is the expected outcome for the English area? What are we supposed to achieve? Okay, I have 21 answers submitted. I will count until 5 to see if I can get some more. You see, 1 more, 3, 1 more. Yes, perfect. Thank you. I know you. Okay, yes. So it is time to see the answers. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on today. Yes. Okay, so here we have all the different responses, huh? So the question was, what does the national curriculum expect for students to achieve for the English area? Okay, so one person say B1, the other person, some other people have been saying that just to use the language, to read, to write, to talk in English, to communicate and to write, to know more, to communicate. It's interesting that, but the highlighted words are very related, right? Like communication, speaking, understanding, develop the communicative, which is again, yes, communication. Let's scroll down. Please remember that if you could not answer the question in the Kahoot, use the chat, okay? Use the chat because I will be reading your response as well, okay? So don't worry about it. So the other response says speaking, understanding, communication, communicate, skills, yes, oral and writing, which is like oral and written communication, I guess. Speaking, understand, solve, yes, skill, development. You know, one person have copied the description of the competence, right? Which is very nice. So, okay, let's see in the chat, in this, to develop the abilities, to develop some skills, to develop the 4 skills. Yes, I am closer, so it's going to be easier for me. Okay, develop the communication skill, communicative. Okay, yes, I guess we all agree on developing the skills is the aim of the competence, right? Develop the skills is the aim of the competence. And what are the skills? Speaking, reading, writing, and listening, of course, right? Our national curriculum does not present it as 4 skills. We have only 3 competences. I am explaining this more for colleagues who are joining us from other countries. So you might know that in Peru, we have only 3 competences for the English area because we have combined listening and speaking as an oral communication in the national curriculum for the English program. So it might be important for you to know, but still we are working with the 4 skills. Okay, this was fun. Okay, let's see if I have 4, some more. Yeah, 4, yeah. And some people are saying that also be able to do some task, which is nice. Okay, so let's see the next one. I wanted to highlight something important because sometimes I have been listening some explanations about the English program, and I don't know why, but some people believe that the curriculum and the English program is not aligned to the Common European Framework. But if you explore deeply the information, you can see that on page 128 in the English program, you can find this statement. The English area is based on the competency-based approach and international standards like the Common European Framework for Languages, CERFs. Yes. So something important that I would like to highlight today is that when you go and analyze the learning descriptors, wait a minute, I want to say it in Spanish. I don't remember. Los desempeños. Yes. When you are reading los desempeños, you will easily recognize that they describe the language functions, the abilities that students have to develop. If you read the standards, you will find exactly the same, because these standards and these desempeños are very aligned to the Common European framework as well. So, okay, wait a minute. Let's try to summarize what we have said so far. We have said that we have 3 competences to develop for the English area, and the national curriculum in Peru aims, and I guess all the curriculums from the English area aims to develop the competences, which are the 4 abilities. And these 4 abilities are, I mean, the descriptors that we have to achieve about learning. I mean, the learning outcomes, the learning descriptors are in the desempeños of the national curriculum, but they are aligned to the Common European framework. And now I have another question for you. You ready? I'm sorry, I get distracted about some of the comments of the teachers, and they are also including this critically and competent way. So yes, thank you very much, Chris, for your comment. So this is another question that I have for you. We're talking about CEF, and yeah, curriculum is aligned to CEF, but what is the CEF? I mean, what is it? And please go beyond the acronym, okay? I don't want you to tell me, is this, C means this, E means this. Is like, what do you think it is? I mean, why is this document so important for us? Yes? So let's see if you, oh, thank you. Janet said, yes, I'm ready for the question. So what is CEF? Why is it so important? What do we, as English learners or as English teachers, have to be aligned to CEF? Why? Why do we have to be aligned to CEF? I have one person who have answered this question. I'm pretty sure that I will have some more. Remember, once again, if you cannot answer the question because you are not in the Kahoot, you are not connected with Kahoot, please use the chat and I will be reading your answer as well, okay? We have a national curriculum that was published in 2016. And after that, we don't have any other national curriculum. That is the only one that we have. It has had some adaptations, but we haven't had any new curriculum after 2016. Before 2016, we had the diseño curricular, which was in 2009. Yes. Before that, we don't have some others. I am just answering some questions. Okay, yeah, some people are answering me in the chat of Facebook. Thank you very much for participating so actively in the workshop. So here we are. What is CEF? Remember, what is CEFR? What is CEF? Many of you have been explaining me the acronym, which is fine. It's Common European Framework for Languages, right? Framework for Languages. Oh, that's something interesting. I'm pretty sure that some of you know that the Common European Framework is framing the learning outcomes that are expected depending on the level of the language, but it's not only for one language. As you can see, it's 4 languages. So it is a frame that we use not only for English, but also for Spanish, for Italian, for French. So all the languages are there. And it's, as it is said, it's a framing, right? It's a frame that we use to understand the abilities that we have to develop according to the level of the language. Let's try to read some of your responses. It says, it's an international frame that guide to learn English. Very nice. This is a very nice response. As standard, students must reach to be competent in English. Very good. an international standard, wait a minute, for describing the language ability. I love that. That's very nice. It is an international standard for describing languages abilities from A1 up to C2. Amazing. To measure the 4 communicative skills and as a second language. Very good. I may say that some approaches are more for the second language, but also for foreign languages, right? It's like for the language on general basis. It is, let's see, yeah, most of you are saying like is how we measure, it's describing, yes. Something important that maybe we have to clarify is that CEF does not measure. CEF only establish what are the abilities. CEF describe the learnings that we need to achieve to be in certain level of English. If we want to measure that, we need different software or different organizations like British Council to measure that language. I'm pretty sure that you will like the ending of this session, okay? But remember, the CEF does not measure your level. The CEF only establish the learning outcomes according to the level of English. Depending on the set, yes, and what expect from our students and what, yes, that is nice. I love this description. This colleague has says, it's an international standard for describing the language ability. It is a good way to know exactly what we expect from our students and what we have, wait a minute, we need to reinforce. It is very important for teachers to understand the different levels and what are we supposed to expect from our students in the right level. And that is a very common mistake. Sometimes when we are designing the learning session, when we are doing the lesson plan, we start mixing the levels, and that is very dangerous, okay? That is very dangerous because it can be like, or too easy or too challenging, and it can be a little bit frustrating for both teachers and students. So that is why it's very important to understand and to know this document and understand the different levels of it. So I would like to read some of the answers in the chat. Is a key instrument for establishing a European educational space in the field of modern languages. Very nice. Thank you, Margarita. That is very, very nice. Very, very nice meaning, this definition, to measure and grade the knowledge in common. Yes, okay. Yeah, thank you. You have been participating very actively. Thank you very much. Yes, very good. Okay, so far we all know that the CEF established the expected learning outcomes according to the different levels of English, of language that we have. So let's see. The Common European Framework of References for Languages is a way of describing the language ability and is often used to help language learners and language teachers as well to choose learning materials and courses at the right level. Remember, I was telling you this before. It is very important to design a lesson plan, to design a learning experiences that is at the right level, because it's the only way that we can guarantee that students is really achieving these international standards as well. So the CEF, as you were mentioning, it has 6 different levels, and it goes from A1 to C2. And for each level, the CEF describes what the learners can do. Yes, and for the 4 different abilities, and actually the more updated documents, they have some others, some other descriptors. I mean, some other categories more than the 4 abilities. But the basic one is reading, listening, writing, and speaking. So another question for you. How comfortable do you feel when using the Common European Framework when designing your learning experiences or your learning sessions? How comfortable do you feel? I am helping you with this. Red, very comfortable. I'm always use it. Blue, I sometimes use it. Choose when I have some doubts. Yellow, I have never used it. And green, I have not heard of Seth before. Yes, so what is your response? Red, blue, yellow, or green? Remember, red, very comfortable. Blue, I sometimes use it. Yellow, I have never used it. And green, I have never heard of it before. So what is your response? If you cannot participate in Kahoot, please just write the color in the chat, okay? You can write the color. Thank you, Ruth. Ruth was the first person who write in the color. Thank you. Red, yellow. I have some responses there. Red. Oh, it's interesting to see that it's red, yellow is like very different, huh? So, okay. So 15 people said that they feel very comfortable with using the Common European Framework, which is very good, because in that way you can guarantee that you are teaching your students the right grammar, the right connectors, the right expressions at that level of English. So it's very important to do it. Don't forget that. 19 people said, I use it when I have some doubts. And that is okay. I mean, if you are sure about that, what you are, where you are, I mean, the language that you have to build on your students is perfect. Maybe you have a lot of experience as an English teacher, so that is why you don't need to revise and check the document very often. But remember, if you have said yellow or green, you have to do something about it, okay? You have to be careful with that, yes? Because we need to use Seth when we are designing our learning experiences and our lesson plans, okay? So I will be sharing an interesting document in some minutes, so I hope they will be very useful for all of you, yes? Okay, let's see the colors that they were saying here. We said red, blue, green. There are some greens in here. Thank you for being so honest. I really appreciate that you were saying, I have never heard about Seth before, which is really amazing. That's very courageous. So I am very happy that you feel free and comfortable in sharing this. So remember, I hope that after this meeting, you will have a lot of information to be interested in revising the document and learning more to be a better teacher, okay? So next, so look at this. I took this slide from Learn English Team from the British Council to share it with you. And in this document, they are just visualizing in a more friendly way the descriptions that you can find in the Common European Framework. They are describing beginner, elementary, intermediate, upper intermediate, and advanced. And they are saying that, for example, in a beginner level, we are supposed to have a basic ability to understand and exchange information on familiar topics in a very simple way. It's extremely important to understand these standards. I am pretty sure that the standards that we have in the national curriculum help us a lot, but understanding the international standards is also helpful because you have a lot of resources to consider when you are designing your learning experiences or your lesson plan. So remember, for example, A1 is supposed to address topics that are very familiar to the students. They are like very simple topics. They are not complex because the idea is to scaffold our students' learning. If you jump to a very complex topic, then once again, it might be very frustrating for you, very frustrating for them, and maybe you are not teaching them what is necessary for them to be, to be able to interact on a basic level of English, because he's learning about very difficult things, but he doesn't know how to buy a cookie. Maybe he doesn't know how to take the bus. So maybe you're teaching the student very complex things, but he's not able to do the simple things. So it's like teaching children mathematics, but first like algorithm and then math, the simple basic math skills. So that is very incoherent. So be careful with that. Once again, I encourage you, I invite you to revise the document and take a look at it closely, especially when you are designing your learning experiences. Yes. Okay. So Another question. And this is probably just for Peruvian people. Maybe if you are from another country, you can give it a try. When we're talking about Common European Framework, what grades in the national curriculum describe the A1 level described in CEF? So we have the English program, we have first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth grade in primary level, and then secondary level. Which grades describe the level A1 of the Common European Framework? I am waiting for your answers. Let's see if I have some people answering the question. So far, nobody's there. Okay, just give it a try. Remember, we are in a safe environment. Nobody will know. This is anonymous. Yes, thank you. I have one person answering. Try to guess. What is the level A1 in the national curriculum? Remember that today I will be sharing with you a useful document that is aligned to the Common European Framework, okay? So don't worry about that. Okay, some people are saying, oh, maybe secondary level is A1, maybe primary level is A1, maybe from first to fourth in primary level, maybe from six, I don't know. Let's see, what are your responses? Okay. Okay, I have some responses in the chat of YouTube. They say like second grade is A1, third and fourth is A1. Yeah, most of you are saying that third and fourth grade of primary level is the level A1. Let's see, what do you say in Kahoot? Okay. So here we have different responses. Okay, it says, what grades? They say third grade, but I don't know if this third grade is primary or secondary. So I guess it's primary level. So only third grade is A1. Other people think that it's first and second grade of primary level. Oh, interesting. First and second grade of secondary is A1 level. Interesting. Remember that my question was, if you analyze the English program in the national curriculum, what grades describe the A1 level in the national curriculum? So you were saying first and second grade of secondary, fourth and fifth grade, I guess is primary level, sixth grade in primary level and first in secondary level. That is nice. Then first grade, first and second. So it's, I guess the range for you, for your hypothesis, is fourth grade of primary level and first or second grade in secondary level. That is the range for you, probably for A1. So let's see if there are different levels. Oh, interesting. It says, but we have A1B. We have primary level, first, second. Yeah, okay. So that's nice. Okay, so are you ready for me to show you the right answer? You might be a little bit surprised, I guess. You're going to be a little bit surprised. You need to know that the national curriculum is describing the ideal learning outcome for our students in the perfect conditions. I mean, having like very nice resources, very good trained teachers, and they have been learning English since primary level, you know, so that is why the national curriculum describes this level of English for students in the public schools. So let's see. Surprise. Okay, so this is the answer. This is a comparison between the Common European Framework and the national curriculum for basic education. If you analyze, you will see that the whole primary level is A1. What? Yes. That is why it's very important for you to know that when you design and you implement and you collect the data of your diagnostic assessment, and you identify the level of your students, and your students are in A1, you cannot check the English program for secondary level. You are supposed to revise the English program of the primary level because that is A1 level. If you identify that your students are in A2 level, then you have to pay attention to first, second, and third grade of secondary in the national curriculum. If you identify that your students are in B1, which is very small, tiny group of people who are in B1 in our country, especially in our schools, that is fourth and fifth grade of secondary level. Remember this information because this is going to be very, very important when you want to create your own learning experiences. Even your students are, but my students are in second grade of secondary. So I have to go to the curriculum, open the English program, and check the second grade of secondary for my students who are in the second grade of secondary. No. You have to apply your diagnostic test, collect the data, identify the level of your students, and based on that, decide if you are like measuring what is going to be the grade that you will be using to design your learning experiences based on the level of English of your students. Yes? Exactly. Yeah, for sure. I mean, Miguel is telling, but that is so far away from the reality. Yes, I was telling you that the national curriculum describes the ideal situation. For example, so far, we know that our students haven't learned English in primary level. There are just few public schools who offer teaching English in primary level. So until we don't have that primary level covered, we cannot start with first grade of secondary of the English program. We have to start from primary level because we haven't covered that in our students. So I totally understand that you might be shocked because of this answer, but this is the truth. And that is why the Ministry of Education is always encouraging you to apply the diagnostic test. So based on that information, you can decide what is going to be the right content and the right learning for your students. Exactly. Yeah, totally agree with you on that one. Yeah. We don't have English in primary level, but I wanted to share with you this. I was like analyzing all the language functions and grammar forms and connectors that we use and are described in the desempeños. So I started contrasting with the SEF, and that is what I found. So actually, I didn't remember because I was part of this document, but I didn't remember it. And that is why, remember, you never, please remember this, you should never take the curriculum and use the content of the grade. You have to apply the diagnostic test, identify the level, and based on the level said, okay, my students are in A1, but A1 in a high level, so maybe I can use fifth and sixth grade of primary level. Oh no, my students are A1, but real beginners, so I better use second and third, or third and fourth of primary level. So that is up to you. That is your decision. Okay, there are very interesting questions here. And well, something like, remember, once again, summarizing what we have been saying so far, is very important to understand the national curriculum. It's very important to understand the Common European Framework, because when we identify the level, just this, when we have to identify the level, we need to understand what are the abilities the students are supposed to do to understand their level, because maybe we're getting confused and we're just using grammar and they are writing grammar, but they are not developing the other abilities. So remember, having SEF is a very nice starting point to understand the right level of your student. When you understand what is supposed your students to achieve based on their abilities, you can really, it's going to be easier for you to identify their level. And based on that, go to the English program as well and start seeing what are the content suggested for you. Remember that the national curriculum have very specified standards for our country. There are some suggestions for you to have in the descriptors or desempeños, but it is up to you what you are selecting and how you are designing the learning experience. So that is a lot of responsibility. So it is very useful and convenient for you to have a better understanding of both documents. So next. Okay, so now this is the question of the day. Okay, Kristel, you have been talking about the Common European Framework and the national curriculum, but how can I align the two documents? How can I understand? I mean, how should I use this one or the other one? I don't understand this. Don't worry, I have some important tricks, and these tricks are based on the key elements. When we are designing our learning experiences, we know that we have to create the meaningful situation, we have to create the learning outcome, we have to design the problem statement or the question or the challenge, right? But all those documents or statements that we design are based on the English learner level, right? So how can we align those documents? When we identify the key elements and pay attention to this. When we're talking about, for example, learning experiences, we are talking about transversal approaches. I will explain this very brief, just for our international teachers. The transversal approaches are the approaches that we use and are aligned to the reality of the Peruvian context. We have, for example, gender equity, excellence, diversity. Yes, we have different transversal approaches, and those are described in the national curriculum, and those are very particular for our country. So are only found in the national curriculum, but we also have to decide and select the language functions. We have to select the grammar, and we have to check the standards. And these three key elements are found in both documents, in the national curriculum and the Common European Framework. So what I suggest you to do is to try to always compare and to see if you are really achieving the right level, if you're really like designing the right content for your students, if you are selecting the correct connector, if your student is in B1 level, are you still teaching him and her and, but the fanboys still basic one, sorry, B1? It's not enough. You have to go further. So that is why we need to compare and contrast the national curriculum, the English program, and the Common European Framework. So I have read that some of you have been asking, and where is that document? Where can I find it? And some of the colleagues have said, don't worry, it's online. You just Google it and you will find it. But today I am sharing a very useful document that I think is going to be very, very beneficial for you. I am sharing it with the tip group for you. Please help me and share it in the chat, because I would like teachers to open the document. Yes, I would like teachers to open the documents. Please, I would like you to help me by sharing the link in the chat. Yes, okay. So while someone in the team is helping me to share this link in the chat with all of you to take a look at this, I am pretty sure that you will be very, very curious. Yes, I am clicking on the document. Oops. Yes, okay. Sorry, guys, can you help me sharing the link in the chat, please?
Of course, please.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so, okay, don't worry. I love some of the questions. I'm reading some of the questions and I love the questions. They are very, very nice. Okay, so I am now showing you the document. And this document is called the English Profile. And it's a document that aims to share some of the language content that you are supposed to teach to your students according to their English level. Okay, so it's going to be very useful and very beneficial for all of you. And so if you take a look at this, as you can see, is from the from the CEF as well, from Europe, from the Council of Europe. So this is a booklet. It's very easy to use. Please take a look at this. Click on the link. Yes, click on the link. And it is described like what is the booklet for, what is going to be used for, you know. And here you can see like the descriptors. I will enlarge this information so you can all see. Okay, this is going to be perfect. Okay, so here, for example, they describe the 6 different levels, and actually they are kind of the same that you have seen that I shared before. You were saying, but where can I find the document? So here it is, don't worry. This is one of them. There are many of them, but just be careful and be sure that it's done by the European Union. So here it is, proficient user, which is C1 and C2, independent user, B1 and B2 and B1, and basic user, A1 and A2. You see, and once again, as we read before, A1 can understand, use familiar everyday expressions and basic phrases aimed at the satisfaction of need of a concrete type. You know, so this document is going to be very useful, but you say, oh, Kristel, that is something that I can find in Google. It's very easy. Don't worry, don't worry. Let's try to explore a little bit more the document and you will find it very useful. Then there are some more descriptions of the document and how to use it. And this is what I found it very, very interesting. They are, for example, here they show you if you are a basic user, what kind of level of what kind of English test you should take. Yes. They are also describing some interesting things about how teachers and learners can benefit from this booklet. And wait a minute. Don't be anxious. Here is. This is something that I found very useful for all of you teachers. For example, here they share with you some interesting phrases and expressions that we can use depending on the level. For example, if your student is in B1 level, so the grammar will be like whose, relative clauses, indirect questions, easy plus infinitive, additional modal uses, and some of the expressions that your students should be using in B1 level is, I guess where it is, I have invited all his friends, so we should be there, should be 28 people. So it is very useful, especially because sometimes we don't know what kind of expressions our students should learn in their level. So these documents share many of these expressions with you. So it's going to be very useful. They share a lot of nice information. I invite you to read deeply what is in the boxes, because they explain you not only the language that you should teach to your student, but also the way you can teach to your students that grammar. So it's going to be very, very nice for all of you. There are some other charts as well. I will be turning this. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, here it is. So for example, C1, C2, I want to see this. Yes. So once again, grammatical criteria. And as I was telling you, they tell you what to teach, you know, the different grammar, the grammatical criteria, the grammar that you should teach, and also some examples depending on the level. For example, this is for level A2, and they are like progressively complexing the grammar, which is amazing for you to have it at hand. So I'm pretty sure that it's going to be very, very useful. Yes, this is going to be very, very useful for all of you. And I am sure that you will have plenty of time to explore it more. Yes, after this webinar. Yeah, so I hope that you enjoyed the document. I found it very, very interesting for all of you. So I would like to know if you found the document interesting. Okay, I would like to see. Yeah, I can see that many of you are very happy, huh? Thank you for sharing. Thank you very much. Yes. Okay, I'm very happy that you find it very valuable for your teaching. I totally understand. I was an English teacher. I was in a classroom for several years, more than 15 years in a classroom, and I totally understand that sometimes it's a little bit confusing when you don't have a book. In our public schools, we don't really have a book to follow. We usually use the national curriculum, and we have the possibility to design and create our own resources, but sometimes it's difficult. So having this booklet, I am pretty sure that it's going to be very interesting and very nice. So remember, you can find, like, the standards are the ones that we have to use in the national curriculum for the English program, but also you can verify and have a better understanding if you check the Common European Framework to really understand what each description means, because sometimes we don't understand what is infer, what's interpret, what is reflection. So all those tiny details about certain terms for teaching English are very described in CEF. So this is going to be very, very useful. So are you ready? Maybe guys, can you help me again in sharing the link so the teachers can have it again for this? Maybe they lost it. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Marielita. Okay, so are you ready to play? Let's try to play a little bit. I want to be sure that you have the document at hand. You have opened the document so we can start playing. Okay, I want to see if you're ready. I would like to see if you're ready for this document. So it's going to be very useful. Thank you very much, guys, for sharing the link again. If you didn't open the document, please open it and take a look at it. It's going to be very valuable for your teaching. It's going to be very, very helpful. And please, if you haven't opened it yet, open it, because it is time to play with the document. Okay, so I invite you to click on the link and have the document open to start playing. Yes, they are sending me a lot of pictures like this. I understand what this is. Okay, so where I told you that I would like to play a little bit with this. So for example, when I am designing my learning experience, I have already identified that my students are A2 level. And the language function that I have decided to work with my student is describe someone in my family. So they are describing people. So they need adjectives because we're using superlative, we're using the adverb to, and we're using present simple. But when we're talking about the language content, we not only have language functions and grammar, we also have connectors, we also have expressions. Are you ready to play? Remember, describe someone in your family, present simple, level A2. Ready? Level A2. Question, and let's start playing, okay? This question is, what expressions should be used for A2 level? You have the booklet, you have the English profile with you, so please click on the link, open, and try to share some of the expressions that you have found for A2 level, okay? For A2 level. Let's see how many of you are exploring right now the booklet and try to find what are the expressions for A2 level. Okay, I know that sooner or later you will be replying, you will be answering. I'm waiting. Okay, yeah, we have one person. Very good. Okay. Remember that if you cannot join the Kahoot because you arrived a little bit late because you had some other things to do today, don't worry, you can participate in the chat, okay? Don't worry. Erika, for example, is already participating in the chat. Thank you very much, Erika. Okay, so I have 6 teachers. Yes, explore the booklet, okay? Explore the booklet. Expressions for A2 level. Expressions for A2 level. Okay, I am very stubborn, so I count until 5 to have more people. 4, 3, expressions. Don't forget, I'm asking for expressions. 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Okay, some people are sharing the language functions for the A2 level. Remember that that is why the booklet is going to be very beneficial for your practice, for the pedagogical practice. The booklet divide or categorize the information if it's the language function, if it's an expression, if it's a connector, if it's grammar. So it's going to be very easy for you then to design your learning experience or lesson plan because you will have all the categories well defined and it's going to be easier. Yes. So some of you are saying like describing physical friend, write a postcard. So all of them are language functions. Yes. All of them are language functions, routine models. For example, someone has said models is for A2. Yes, but that is grammar. That is not an expression. Yes. Routines perfect, but it's grammar. For example, it says, have you ever traveled to Dubai? Erika said that is an expression. Yes. Take it easy. Very good. That's okay. Okay. Write an email. Okay. Let's see what are the responses we have received in Kahoot. Okay. You were playing with the Kahoot, but really playing. Okay. The answer is A. Okay. You see, be careful. Please, I encourage you to analyze, understand the booklet to use it correctly, and it has different categories. Be careful if it's grammar, it's grammar. If they are expressions, you have to look for expressions, okay? So for example, for A2, you have found that it's present simple and superlative. What are you going to wear? That is an expression for A2 level. Thank you very much. What do you do? Sorry. We came back. Personal description. For example, learners are able to produce simple, direct, double-edged questions as well as statements. This is the description of the ability in level A2, right? Conditional, report, and speech, that is grammar. What does your mother look like? I guess. Yes. What time do you model birds? I want to buy, I like. Yes. Can you help me? Very good. What did you eat last night? Okay. My family is beautiful. We played together. My family has nice moment. Yes. Okay. I guess that some of you have been sharing the expressions that we use in A2, but the ones that you think you can use. And remember that the task was to use the booklet and to look in the booklet the expressions for A2 level. Okay, remember, I am inviting you to check the expressions in the booklet. Yes. For example, what do you do every day? Yes. How are you today? Could I use? Thank you. Chill out. Yes. Okay, that's perfect. Okay. What if we do it again? But remember, the question is try to look expressions, no grammar. Yes, no grammar, expressions. Yes. Okay, let's see. Once again. Oh, sorry, that is a different question. That is a different question, but it's also important. Okay, so now when we play a little bit with the English profile, and I I shared it with you for you to explore in your free time. Now it's time to tell me, why is English important? What learning English is important now? We have been talking about the levels and develop competences and develop writing, speaking, but why is it important? What do we have to achieve good level of English? What do you think it is? Why do you think learning English is important? Why is it important? Why is learning English important? Okay, there are some people that are replying in the chat, and it's because it's an international language. Okay, I won't take this into consideration because I guess these responses are very different to what I was expecting. But I will be reading the answers in the chat, and in the chat you are telling me that is an international language, and yes, it is lingua franca, which is not only an international language, but it's also the most common language that people use to communicate and to interact for academic purposes, for professional purposes. Yes, so that is why English is so important. Then Maria Teresa saying that we are living in a globalized world, so we need a key to communicate with everybody. Very good, Maria Teresa. That is why English is lingua franca, right? Hilda said for communicating. Karin is remembering the open doors, you know, the open doors law, which is not open doors, but well, we call it in that way, because it helps us to communicate with other people from different cultures, from different countries. Yes, you know, it is interesting to know that the Common European Framework decided to promote people in Europe to learn different countries so people can communicate and can move from one country to another one easily because they can speak 2 or 3 languages at least. So they are more competent and they have more opportunities. So that is why they created this Common European Framework. And that is why it is for languages and not only for English. Yes. So that is something interesting to know. To talk to all people in the world. It's an international languages because it is important to increase the relevance and efficiency of a language. Yes, because we can express feelings and think and thoughts. We can communicate with the global world. It's a universal language. Yes, totally agree on that one. Yes, you are participating a lot in the chat. Yeah, Celia is saying something very important is the communication that is very used in social media, in internet. So if you want to interact easily and don't have any barriers or boundaries, you have to learn English and you have to do it well, right? To be able to interact properly with people effectively. You see, there are many benefits, personal and professional advantages. Let me see what else. You know, we have to communicate accurately, appropriately. So that is why we have to follow what are the descriptors in the Common European Framework as well. Oh, Richard is saying something very nice, which is more related to neuroscience. It says, when you are bilingual, you reduce the chances of suffer dementia, which is really nice. It's really nice. Actually, I am considering a little bit of neuroscience over there. English help us to earn more money because we have more opportunities. Okay, thank you very much. You have been participating a lot. There are many, many comments in the chat, in the YouTube chat. Provide more opportunities, chances to get better jobs. Yes. Okay, very good. That's very nice. So we all agree on this one. English have many important benefits, right? You can have better opportunities. You can have like better opportunities for academic purposes. I don't know if you have known, but before the law Inglés Puertas al Mundo, the law was created because we had a really little chance to get a scholarship Peruvians have had a little chance to get a scholarship because they didn't know how to speak English well. So that is why in 2015, Inglés Puertas al Mundo was approved as a law to boost the English learning in Peru, right? So academic purposes is very important. Professionals, of course, because if you work for a company that interact with other countries, you need to speak English, definitely. And for personal things as well. If you want to travel to other countries to go sightseeing, for tourism, whatever the reason is, you need to speak English as well, right? Another important advantage and benefits, and some of you were talking about a little bit of neuroscience, it's remember that having a bilingual brain is very beneficial for you because it helps to interact both hemispheres in your brain. So that means that you are more flexible and you develop a divergent thinking, and this divergent thinking help you to be flexible, help you to learn faster, because you have adapted your brain to think into different ways and to acquire knowledge and culture. You turn into a culture vulture. I don't know if you have heard that word before. So you love learning, so you acquire knowledge easily just because you have a bilingual brain. And of course, it boosts your confidence. You feel more confident when interacting with other cultures, with other people. And learning a language is not only learning a language per se, is also learning the culture. And when you are more aware of other cultures, you feel more confident when interacting with people from other countries. And I love the comment from Monica. Monica said, and of course, Qatar speaks in English. So we cannot see the World Cup if we cannot understand English. So yes, that will be a great motivation for our teenagers, right? Especially teenagers, or well, adults as well, right? But as we are talking about school teachers, yes. Okay, so I love this. I love the way that you are commenting in the chat. And remember something important. We're saying that English, it's provide us better opportunities to have a more strong, to have more confidence, to learn faster, So these benefits are not only for our students, but it's also beneficial for teachers. So that is why teachers are supposed to keep learning and improving their language all the time. So we have to keep growing on our language, especially because as we are language teachers, the language is usually changing, because people change the language all the time. So we have to always be updated in our languages and testing our languages and be sure that we are achieving the international standards to be able to shape our students to be good users of the language as well. Just the other day, this is not new, this is very old, but the other day, we were talking with a student and he said, I am photocopying my papers. And he said, you can say Xeroxing. Maybe this is not something new, but for example, it is important to keep updated with the new terms that we are using on common daily basis. And that is why it is important also to keep testing yourself in your English level. Yes, so remember, what is important to be assessed in your English level as a teacher? It is important because you are the person who is sharing your knowledge with your students as well. So we have been talking about the benefits of English. It's not only for our students, it's also for us. And we need to keep in mind that we need to have these higher standards to be able to shape our students to be great language users. Yes. And how can we help our students better to achieve the proper level accurately, as you were saying, by using the Common European Framework and the national curriculum and trying to combine in the best way and be aware of both documents and having a better understanding of them. Okay, so don't forget this. Yes, you cannot have a student who speaks English well if the teacher is not speaking well, if not writing well. So remember this, you have to try to be the best version of yourself so your students will be exactly the same. Yes? So what are the conclusions for today? Okay, conclusion number 1. The English program of the National Curriculum for Basic Education is aligned to the Common European Framework. Remember that if you go to the description of the capacities, los desempeños, and you take a look at the language function, the grammar, the connectors that they consider, especially oral communication and writing, because in reading there are not many descriptors. In oral communications and writing, you will find that the exact content of language you have to teach in that grade. And why do you have that specific information? Because English needs to be scaffolded, needs to be teach progressively from simple to complex. Yes. So in order to guarantee this sequence, you have to use the descriptions in the desempeños, but please double check with the Common European Framework. Kristel, wait a minute. You said that the desempeños are optional. Yeah, desempeños, the description itself is optional, but take advantage of the language content. Take advantage of the language functions. Take advantage of the grammar that is described. So you can be sure that you are working A1 and you are not complicating yourself and your students that is not when it's not necessary. Okay, so remember this. The second conclusion is English teachers must have a deep understanding of both documents. So then you are going to make better pedagogical decisions. When you understand both documents, you will be able to decide which one to follow and mix them up perfectly and design the best learning experience for your students. Remember, I have shared the English profile with you, and in that document, you have some specific examples of the phrases, the grammar, the connectors, and they even give you some very brief explanations of the grammar for you to do it properly with your students as well. So remember, explore both documents very well. And conclusion number 3, the certification prove your English language level, giving you better opportunities. What am I saying this? We were just talking in the middle of the workshop that the Common European Framework describe the level of your, the learning outcomes, the expected learning outcomes in each English level, right? But remember, the CEF does not certify it, but you as a teacher should always keep assessing your English to be sure that you are having a good English level so you can shape your student in the best way. Yes, so they can be better language users. Choose for you to remember, NCBE means National Curriculum for Basic Education. Currículo Nacional para la Educación Básica. Yes, so National Curriculum for Basic Education. So don't forget this, and I hope that you enjoyed today the session, and I am ready if you have some of the questions. And thank you very much for participating very well. I know that we have some complicated sections for Kahoot, but you have been participating actively in the chat, so I do appreciate that. So I'm ready for the questions.
Hey, thank you so much for everything. I think everyone is more than happy. Sorry that the light is not very good here. Really far from home right now. But again, thanks again. And I do have some questions here. The first question is from teacher Robert, who says that how to align with the levels according to international standards, knowing that our students do not have the best results in English language since we have, well, we don't have laboratories, materials, and so on.
Thank you, Angela. Hi, it's good to see you. You said the teacher's name is Roberto, right?
Yeah, I think so. It's because there is a D at the end, so I think it's Roberto or Robert. Not very sure.
Robert. Okay, let's call him Robert. It is okay. It is the name in English, so it's gonna be fine. Okay, Robert. I really like your question. I know that you might be very concerned because maybe you think that you feel that you don't have the conditions and you might believe that you need more resources. But remember something important. The person who is, I mean, there is an important agent of change when teaching English, and it's not the book, it's the teacher. The teacher is the most important resource for students to learn a language or to learn something. So don't worry about not having laboratories, not having computers, and not having internet. There are many different places in which people can learn different languages just because they have a great teacher. So Robert, if you are here today, it's because you are a great professional and you are very concerned about keep learning. So I am pretty sure that you are making a great effort. Besides the lack of resources that you might have in your place, I'm pretty sure that your students are learning. And just remember that we're supposed to be challenging, but not too challenging that is going to be frustrating. So just keep doing your best. And I'm pretty sure your students will be very, very grateful with you. So thank you for your question, Robert.
Thank you. Well, another question that I have here is, we as teachers can do our materials, but do you think it will be better to standardize somehow the teaching, not only for public schools, but also for private ones? Since, you know, some students from private schools have higher levels of English, and when they change the schools, which is something that has been happening from the pandemic, that they have changed from a school, they have felt this huge difference from one place to another. And I do think that that is something that needs to be aligned. So what do you think about it?
I just want to be sure that I am understanding the question. And the question is like, we have now a mixture of ex-students from private school in our public schools. And is there a way to teach in a standardized way to cover all the students at the same time? Is that the question?
Yes, that is the one.
Okay, thank you, Angela. Okay, so I mean, standardizing things sometimes is good, you know, when we're talking about conditions, when we're talking about resources, but when we're talking about learning, it is very difficult to talk about standardization. And my recommendation, and I am pretty sure that is nothing new, is like just take advantage of the strong students to support the students that are still in process. So working collaboratively, making a lot of peer work, group work will help them a lot to leverage the level, to leverage the English language in your classroom. But like standardizing your teaching, I don't think it's going to be a good strategy. Maybe the best way to address that issue that you are experiencing in your classroom is ask them to work together. So students will learn from one another, and you can like monitor and see which are the students who needs more support. So you can approach those students closer, and the other ones who are stronger will be the leaders in the other groups. So I guess that is going to be like a good way to kind of standardize the strategy, but not the learning. Because remember, competency approach implies to personalize learning, to respect a student's process, to respect a student's traits, a student's context, conditions, previous learning. So that will be my recommendation. Try to provoke more interaction among your student will be like the best solution for your challenge.
Thank you so much. Now, there is another question here. Now, maybe to avoid repetition in maybe topics that we have to teach, do you think that it will be better to use a text in public schools? This is a question from Ms. Mirka Rodriguez.
Angelita, I'm sorry for being so annoying, but I rather to confirm, to clarify that I am understanding well.
Yes.
it's the question is that it's a good idea to have books in the school?
Yeah, texts. Yeah, texts. In public schools, yes.
Okay, so having books in the school will be more beneficial for the teaching?
Yeah, like if I'm not wrong, like when you work in private schools, you have like a book for first graders, for second graders. So would it be good or better to have a textbook in public schools?
Okay. Please don't hate me. When I was working at the Ministry of Education in 2016, we did a very important survey for teachers. And actually, the common answer was that they felt very frustrating when they were using the book. Because once again, the competency approach does not imply a standardization. Totally the opposite. It's like personalizing learning. So if we are all using books, that means that I will have a book for first grade of secondary level. And now this is a reflection for you. In our first grade of secondary level, do we have the same English level for all our students? Having a book with the same content, with the same, with certain content that we have to cover in certain progress doesn't limit us from our work, from our creativity, from our professional decisions as teachers?
Personally, no. In my case, no. It's because I really like providing extra materials, and I do use differentiate materials for my students because I do work like according to their necessities, taking in account that I have like a special kids that may need special material, so I cannot give them the same, but maybe like they work in a same somehow level of English, but we do have like a little difference. I think it like personally,
No, I love your answer because my understanding of the question is different to what you are telling me now. If you ask me, is it okay to have books in the schools as we had in 2010, in 2012, that we have a book for all the public schools and they were delivered nationwide to all the schools and all the students and teachers? The answer is no. If you remember that time in which you have to cover a specific content in certain time, and you have to present the information of that progress of your student, it was a nightmare. But if you are telling me that you as a teacher can have like a library in your school to have several books from which you can decide which one to use with your students, that is amazing. That is heaven. Yes, but my recommendation is not to conceive the idea of going back. We are not supposed to going backwards. You have to move forward. Yes, and having one book for all our students is never a good idea. But if you are considering consulting different books to design a session, for sure, that is amazing. There are many different resources, not only books, but now that we have technology, and technology have been boosted because of pandemic, I am pretty sure that we have more resources available for all the different topics and levels, so go for it. So thank you very much, Angelita, for the question. And I don't know if Consuelo, Marielita.
Yeah, I think they are, it's turn for Mariela here. I would love to ask you, there are like many questions like coming up there, more and more.
We can have a private session.
Yeah, yeah, there are like many things here to us. Thank you so much again. Here is Mariela, so I'll leave you both.
Thank you, Angela, for interesting questions and your answers, clear answers, dear Kristel. Thank you for this amazing presentation too. Muchísimas gracias, querida Kristel, por esta presentación. Creo que era una necesidad también para todos los teachers que están muy contentos con el tema y con varios vacíos que hay, sobre todo para poder articular lo que es el marco común europeo con lo que nosotros enseñamos dentro de las instituciones públicas o el programa curricular que emana desde el Ministerio de Educación. Muchísimas gracias por ello, Kristel, como siempre, una excelente presentación, súper interesante. Muchísimas gracias a ti y gracias también, por supuesto, al British Council English Score, quien el día de hoy, pues gracias a ellos y a la alianza que hemos tenido para este último webinar, han hecho posible tu presencia aquí. Te pedimos que te quedes unos minutitos más, por favor, con nosotros, mientras vamos continuando con este cierre de webinars, queridos English teachers in Perú and around the world. En este momento tenemos una sorpresa para todos ustedes. Tenemos la presencia de una representante del British Council que el día de hoy está con nosotros, del British Council English Score, que nos va a explicar un poquito más de qué se trata este servicio que en este momento está dando el British Council a nivel internacional y que está, por supuesto, para aquí, para Perú. Y además hay una sorpresa para todos los asistentes, pero tienen que estar muy atentos, porque gracias a esta alianza con el British Council English Score, con Claudia, que debe estar por ahí. Sí, Claudita ya está por ahí, que seguramente ya está presente, Claudia Herrera, el día de hoy con nosotros, representante del British Council. Voy a dejarla entonces, le doy la posta a Claudita para que pueda compartir con ustedes la buena nueva que tenemos. Así que, por favor, todos muy atentos. Querida Claudia, bienvenida. La audiencia es toda tuya. El volumen es lo que no se está escuchando. Claudita, creo que en este momento se está compartiendo el video, pero no se está escuchando el volumen. De repente lo puedes volver a compartir y activas la opción de incluir el audio al compartir. Tal vez lo dejas de compartir y lo vuelves a hacer porque no se escucha el video salvo que esté mudo. Si es que es video, claro está.
Sí, ¿cómo está? ¿Qué tal? Muy buenas noches,
Gracias,
encantada,
Claudia.
Mariela,
Buenas noches,
muchas
qué gusto
gracias.
tenerte aquí con nosotros.
Igualmente, súper feliz de poder estar aquí con ustedes. Como les había comentado Mariela, yo soy Country Manager para la certificación internacional British Council English Score y en verdad, Mariela, que voy a aprovechar algunas preguntas que quedaron en el chat sobre certificaciones internacionales, cómo puedo conseguir una certificación internacional, cómo me preparo. Así que el día de hoy vamos a conversar un poquito respecto a eso. Yo voy a empezar a compartir mi pantalla. Yo me emociono mucho, Mariela, cuando hablo de mi certificación internacional. Así que si probablemente ven alguna pregunta en el chat, no se preocupen, que hacia el final yo tengo una sorpresa súper interesante, porque yo veía que decían, ¿cómo doy la certificación internacional? Hoy para todos los asistentes, gracias a esta comunicación que hemos tenido, a la oportunidad que nos están brindando ustedes como grupo, vamos a otorgar certificaciones gratuitas para todos los asistentes que se queden hasta el final y que hagan preguntas. Así que, por favor, súper atentos ahí para el chat, porque yo luego voy a compartir una página web a la cual todos van a ir y yo les voy a ir narrando cómo hacerlo. Entonces, les voy a comentar hoy sobre la certificación internacional British Council English Score. Esta es una certificación totalmente disruptiva y diferente. No es una certificación tradicional, no necesito separar fecha ni viajar hacia ciertas ciudades. Lo voy a rendir a través de mi teléfono celular. Cualquier dispositivo móvil del 2016 en adelante. Por lo tanto, no nos preocupemos que si no tengo el último iPhone o si que no tengo el Samsung que se dobla. Tranquilos. Cualquier teléfono móvil, sea Motorola, Samsung, iPhone, etc. Ahora muchos alumnos y ustedes mismos escuchamos el iPhone 14, es la novedad. cualquier dispositivo móvil vas a poder descargar mi aplicativo totalmente gratuito, inclusive un iPhone 6, o sea, de hace muchos años atrás. ¿Qué pasa con esta certificación? ¿Por qué es disruptiva? El aplicativo se descarga gratuitamente. El examen se toma gratuitamente. Y lo que sí tiene un costo es el certificado. Pero recordemos que no es una certificación tradicional. En la certificación tradicional yo tengo que seleccionar una fecha específica en una ciudad, porque si me pierdo esa fecha ya no puedo dar examen hasta el próximo año. Aquí no, yo voy a decidir cuándo tomo mi certificación internacional. Si va a ser hoy día por la noche, mañana, la próxima semana. Adicionalmente a esto, soy yo quien primero apruebo el examen y luego compro mi certificado. No voy a pasar 2 meses esperando para saber si aprobé, si desaprobé, cuál fue mi nota. Y lo mejor de todo es que esta certificación pertenece al portafolio de certificaciones de British Council. Por lo tanto, ya sabemos que está súper bien avalada y es una certificación que tiene reconocimiento internacional, no solamente en el Perú, sino en 150 países. Como les decía, este es un examen y un certificado de inglés. Tenemos presencia en 150 países. Actualmente tenemos más de 150 millones de usuarios. Y lo que hacemos como parte del portafolio de British Council es generar asociación con universidades, con empresas y también con gobiernos. ¿Con qué finalidad? Obviamente, elevar la tasa de empleabilidad. Porque sabemos que en Perú, de acuerdo al último reporte del diario Gestión, dominar inglés implica que podamos ganar hasta un 30% más de salario. La reputación internacional que tiene British Council, obviamente, es algo que se presenta solo. Y esta es una evaluación objetiva. Es British Council quien está certificando mi dominio del idioma inglés. Les comentaba, examen totalmente disruptivo, ¿verdad? Descargamos un aplicativo, rindo el examen de manera gratuita en mi teléfono celular y tenemos actualmente 3 certificaciones. La primera de ellas es Core Skills. Core Skills evalúa comprensión lectora, comprensión auditiva, gramática y también vocabulario. También tenemos un examen de Speaking que evalúa pronunciación, fluidez y comunicación. Y también tenemos un examen de Writing que evalúa nuestra capacidad de comunicarnos de manera escrita. Tomar cada una de las certificaciones nos va a tomar entre 30 a 40 minutos. ¿De qué va a depender? Obviamente de nosotros mismos. El examen trabaja con inteligencia artificial. Es un examen adaptativo. Si respondemos correctamente, obviamente el sistema nos genera preguntas cada vez más complejas. Pero si probablemente cometo algún error, el sistema reconoce mi nivel del marco común europeo, que justo era lo que mencionaba hoy Kristel, el marco común europeo, y de acuerdo a ese nivel genera nuevas preguntas. Las preguntas se generan en el instante. Entonces, pero ¿cómo funciona esto? Recuerden, a través de inteligencia artificial, de acuerdo a mi respuesta previa, el sistema en este momento genera una nueva pregunta, arma preguntas en el instante para mí. Lo mejor de todo, puedo tomar el examen hasta 2 veces en un día y 10 veces en un mes. ¿Qué quiere decir esto? Que en mi celular yo voy a tener el reporte de mis 10 intentos y soy yo quien va a decidir cuál de esos resultados quiero certificar. Nuevamente, totalmente disruptivo, ¿verdad? No necesito fecha ni hora. 24 horas al día, todos los días del año puedo tomar el examen. Tengo oportunidades 2 veces en un día y hasta 10 veces en un mes. Trabajamos con inteligencia artificial, pero también incluimos a un equipo de revisores humanos. Y nuestros resultados están alineados al marco común europeo de referencia. El sistema determina desde un nivel pre-A1 hasta un C1, es decir, desde un básico o real beginner hasta un avanzado. Sin embargo, solo emitimos certificados a partir del nivel A2 en adelante. ¿Con qué finalidad? Recordemos que lo que buscamos es elevar nuestra tasa de empleabilidad. y es por eso que certificamos a partir de básico, es decir, un A2, B1, B2 y C1. A grosso modo, les hago una descripción aquí del examen. No se preocupen que, como les había comentado, vamos a tener una sorpresa al final y todos los pasos y contenidos de la certificación se los vamos a hacer llegar a través del equipo de Mariela en un tutorial. A grosso modo, el examen de Core Skills, como les había dicho, evalúa gramática, vocabulario, comprensión lectora y comprensión auditiva. Son 72 preguntas que recuerden que a través de la inteligencia artificial se van armando en ese mismo momento. No existe ninguna posibilidad de alguna pregunta repetida, porque recordemos que puedo tomar cada certificación 2 veces en un día y hasta 10 veces en un mes. Y soy yo quien determina qué resultado quiero certificar. Por lo tanto, la misma dinámica seguimos en el examen de Speaking y también para el examen de Writing. Otra cosa disruptiva, tan pronto yo voy a terminar mi examen de Core Skills, voy a saber mi resultado. El resultado el sistema lo calcula de forma inmediata. No vamos a esperar 2 meses para saber si aprobamos o no. En el examen de Speaking, nosotros vamos a grabar nuestra voz y nuestro equipo de revisores humanos escucharán su voz y en un plazo máximo de 12 horas, ustedes sabrán sus resultados. Lo mismo ocurre con nuestro examen de Writing. Quiere decir entonces que, nuevamente, es un examen totalmente diferente, pero diferente para bien, porque nos viene a beneficiar. Como podemos ver en esta diapositiva, nosotros también cumplimos con todos los requerimientos del Marco Común Europeo. ¿Qué es el Marco Común Europeo? Como nos decía Kristel, es el marco de referencia para todos los idiomas. La certificación English Score, como pueden ver ahí, tiene un puntaje de 0, que significa pre-A1, hasta 599, que es el nivel C1. Recuerden que trabajamos con inteligencia artificial, entonces tenemos millones de combinaciones de preguntas. Las preguntas se van armando en ese instante. Como es un examen que se rinde a través de un aplicativo móvil, el sistema no permite que tomemos captura de pantalla. ¿Con qué finalidad? Para evitar cualquier tipo de mala práctica. Tampoco podemos compartir pantalla ni proyectarla. El sistema toma un mínimo de 20 fotos. De manera aleatoria, no nos va a avisar. No nos va a avisar que está tomando fotos. ¿Con qué finalidad? Recuerden que tenemos un equipo de revisores humanos que van a visualizar esas fotos para determinar si nos corresponde o no nos corresponde un certificado. Si en algún momento nosotros probablemente tenemos que contestar una llamada, ¿verdad? Porque se va a rendir a través de mi dispositivo móvil. Alguien me llama, tranquilos. Pueden responder durante 15 segundos sin ningún problema. Si probablemente me queda en la llamada más tiempo, obviamente el sistema se cierra y nos indica que ya perdí una de mi bolsita de 10 oportunidades que tenía para rendir el examen. Adicionalmente a eso, cada uno de nuestros certificados es seguro y verificable, porque cada certificado tiene un código único de verificación que lo pueden ver aquí. En la parte inferior, aquí aparece nuestro puntaje del Marco Común Europeo, el puntaje de 0 a 600. El sistema sí nos permite tomar una foto oficial al finalizar el examen. Aquí sí nos avisan. Lo mejor de todo, que si alguna de sus instituciones educativas quisiera hacer un convenio con nosotros, va a ser el certificado cobrandeado. Quiere decir que vamos a colocar el logo de la institución en la parte inferior, justo frente al logo de British Council. ¿Qué significa entonces? Que va a ser un certificado internacional avalado por 2 instituciones. British Council y la institución educativa en la que ustedes trabajan y con la cual en algún momento probablemente quieran hacer un convenio con nosotros. Como podrán ver, este es un certificado verificable en todo momento porque cada certificado tiene un código único de verificación. Ustedes van a nuestra página web y simplemente ingresan el número del certificado y verifican en ese instante que ese certificado exista. No nuevamente, esto no es tradicional. No vamos a tener que mandar un correo a alguien para que nos responda en 2 semanas si ese certificado existe o no existe. Pero, adicionalmente a eso, a que ya tenemos una certificación internacional disruptiva, tenemos todo un programa de acompañamiento, que es el Approved Partner Program. ¿De qué se trata? Nosotros sabemos, como profesores de inglés, que muchas veces el limitante para tener una certificación internacional ha sido el tema de costos. Y no solamente eso, sino que probablemente en nuestras ciudades, especialmente en el interior del país, solamente lo toman ciertas instituciones, o probablemente nadie lo toma ahí y tendría que viajar a Lima, a Trujillo o a Chiclayo. Eso se acabó. Porque recuerden que este examen se rinde a través del dispositivo móvil sin tener que separar fecha y horario. El precio. Cada certificado tiene un costo oficial de $25. Si nosotros tomaríamos las 3 certificaciones para validar las 4 habilidades del idioma, estaríamos pagando solo $75 en total. Y lo mejor de todo es que esos son precios oficiales. Si alguna institución forma parte de nuestro Approved Partner Program, incluso esa certificación podría llegar a costar $12.50 cada una. Quiere decir un 50% de descuento. Y recuerden que el certificado es cobrandeado. Si alguna institución en algún momento optara por tener un convenio con nosotros, tendría acceso a un dashboard o a un tablero de control, en el cual en tiempo real van a ver a sus estudiantes tomando el examen. ¿Cuál fue su resultado? El resultado global y también por cada subhabilidad. ¿Cuándo tomó el examen? ¿Qué tipo de examen tomó? Van a filtrar, descargar los resultados. Este tablero de control es un tablero gratuito que se le otorga a todas las instituciones que trabajan con nosotros. Adicionalmente a eso, como parte de nuestro servicio de acompañamiento, a cada institución se le asigna un gerente de cuenta, que está a cargo de un acompañamiento total. Brinda webinars o talleres presenciales para los estudiantes y profesores, elabora guías, videos, tutoriales, tenemos bancos de preguntas, cursos de preparación totalmente listos, nos sentamos con ustedes e incluso ayudamos a elaborar piezas gráficas porque ahora sabemos que las redes sociales se mueven muchísimo. Y nuestro gerente de cuenta va a estar encargado de brindar ese soporte para redes sociales también con piezas gráficas. Y lo mejor de todo es que su institución va a poder hacer uso de nuestros logos. Quiere decir que va a poder usar nuestros logos en publicidad interna o externa, indicando que es un socio aprobado de British Council con la certificación English Score. ¿Sí? Todo lo que yo les he brindado sobre el dashboard, el gerente de cuenta, los posts ya listos, el logo es un servicio totalmente gratuito que nosotros brindamos, por si acaso, para las instituciones que tienen un convenio con nuestra certificación internacional. Pero en este caso, gracias a la cooperación que nosotros tenemos con English Teachers in Perú, vamos a otorgar certificados gratuitos para todos los asistentes a este webinar. ¿Cómo lo vamos a hacer? Ustedes están viendo en mi diapositiva que hay un link, ¿verdad? ¿Están viendo el link ahí? Por favor, Marielita, te voy a agradecer que lo puedas pegar en el chat para que puedan ir a ese link. No se preocupen que eso no tiene que ser hoy, pero yo les voy a contar qué es lo que vamos a hacer. Vamos a ir al link que ustedes tienen en sus pantallas y vamos a completar la información que nos solicitan. Vamos a colocar nuestro nombre, nuestro apellido, nuestro correo, nuestro número telefónico, nuestro cargo, probablemente todos aquí somos profesores, y la institución en la cual laboramos. Y luego voy a dar clic en ese botoncito rojo que dice Get Free Certificate. Cuando doy clic ahí, de inmediato me aparece esta siguiente pantalla, en la cual me brindan un voucher code. ¿Qué es un voucher code? Recuerden que les comenté que cada certificación costaba $25. ese voucher code va a permitir que ustedes no paguen nada. Ustedes van a tener certificados sin pagar los $25 o los $50. No van a pagar nada. Lo único que van a hacer es ingresar ese código cada vez que quieran comprar un certificado. Por lo tanto, recuerden, lo primero que vamos a hacer es ir a este landing page que tenemos, completan la información y de inmediato les va a aparecer esta ventana con su código gratuito. También ese código gratuito lo van a recibir ustedes en su bandeja de correo electrónico. Y, por ejemplo, si alguien me dice, Claudia, yo hice todo el proceso, pero no recibí el código, ¿qué puedo hacer? Tranquilos, yo les dejo aquí mi número telefónico y mi dirección de correo. Cualquier duda o consulta, probablemente sobre el proceso del certificado, sobre el proceso de rendir el examen, me avisan con total libertad y con mucho gusto podemos conversar al respecto. Recuerden que es una certificación disruptiva, es una certificación diferente y probablemente ustedes puedan tener algunas preguntas. Y aquí estoy yo para poder ayudarlos en lo que necesiten. Les agradezco mucho por su tiempo, Marielita. No sé si alguien en el chat tiene probablemente alguna consulta respecto a lo que he presentado o al proceso. Con mucho gusto me quedo aquí unos minutitos para poder absolver esas dudas.
Primero agradecerte de corazón, querida Claudia, este gesto realmente de parte del British Council English Scorn, el poder compartir con todos nuestros miembros de English Teachers in Perú este super premio que se están llevando por el cierre de este webinar, porque definitivamente pues es de interés de muchos maestros el poder tener una certificación que pueda avalar el nivel de inglés, ¿no? Y creo que el día de hoy pues tenerla de esta forma y con un código que se está dando de manera gratuita para todos nuestros miembros que el día de hoy están participando en este closing, en este cierre de ciclo de webinars. Hay algunas preguntitas que quisiera hacerte llegar. Una de ellas es, por ejemplo, bueno, tenemos también en el webinar teachers de Argentina, de Ecuador, y están con la preocupación de que si esto solamente se va a aplicar para los teachers que son de Perú nada más.
No, para todos los asistentes el día de hoy, si tenemos profesores de México, de Colombia, de Argentina, todos van a nuestra landing page y generan sus códigos para obtener certificados gratuitos. Y nuevamente, si por ejemplo por A o B llegó a su bandeja de spam y no lo vieron, por favor se comunican conmigo que con mucho gusto los ayudo, pero es para todos. Es un premio de cierre del evento que tenemos el día de hoy y en colaboración con el equipo de English Teachers in Perú, y muchas gracias en verdad por la oportunidad que nos han brindado. Para nosotros significa mucho poder brindarles este acceso gratuito, una certificación internacional, porque recuerden que nosotros también estamos buscando la mejora en la calidad educativa, no solamente de Perú, sino de todo el mundo. Todos estamos comprometidos con eso. Y si hablamos de la Agenda 2030, con el objetivo número 4, que es educación de calidad.
Claro que sí, somos testigos de los miles de programas que dirige el British Council con el fin de poder fortalecer la formación de todos los docentes de inglés. Muchos hemos sido partícipes también de ellos, de diferentes becas que hemos podido obtener gracias al British Council, y el día de hoy, por supuesto, dando una demostración más de ese interés genuino que tiene por mejorar la calidad de educación en todos los docentes. Otra preguntita para ti, querida Claudia, ¿el código caduca? ¿Tiene algún tiempo de vigencia?
Lo vamos a poder utilizar hasta el día 31 de diciembre a las 11:59. Recuerden que tienen 2 oportunidades en un día y 10 veces en todo un mes. Pero si por A o B, Marielita, algún profesor me dice, Claudia, los registros de fin de año, me pedían observación de clase, los villancicos, no pudimos darlo, se comunican conmigo y podemos hacer una ampliación de la vigencia de sus códigos.
Perfecto, perfecto. Entonces, creo que por ahí también, con respecto a la validez también de la certificación, si es que, por ejemplo, es válido también aquí en el Perú, yo sé desde ya que el British Council pues,
Sí.
es una organización internacional súper reconocida, pero no está de más que hagas énfasis en ello, Claudita, para que...
Por supuesto. Es reconocida no solamente aquí en Perú, sino a nivel mundial, porque recuerden que aquí hay dos cosas principales. La certificación está de acuerdo a lo que solicita el marco común europeo, pero British Council tiene presencia en más de 150 países. Somos una entidad reconocida a nivel mundial, por lo tanto, cero preocupaciones. Esa es una certificación internacional avalada por British Council y reconocida en más de 150 países.
Perfecto. Claudita, algo más por aquí. Una preocupación de los maestros. Si bien es cierto, nos explicabas también que es una aplicación que la podemos descargar desde el móvil y damos desde el móvil, ¿hay la posibilidad de darla desde una laptop, una computadora?
Podemos practicar desde una laptop y también desde una tablet. Pero, por ejemplo, yo puedo practicar 9 veces en mi laptop y en mi tablet las veces que necesite. Pero en mi 10º intento del mes, sí tendría que rendirlo a través de un dispositivo móvil. Porque recuerden que nosotros tenemos múltiples medidas de seguridad y la certificación internacional necesita o requiere que nuestro equipo de revisores humanos validen las fotos que el sistema ha tomado de forma aleatoria. No se preocupen, nuevamente, lo podemos tomar 2 veces en un día y 10 veces en un mes. Puedo prepararme 5 veces desde mi tablet, porque probablemente me gusta la imagen más grande, ¿no? Para conocer el formato. Puedo tomarlo 3 veces más desde mi laptop, pero mi última oportunidad, mi último intento, sí tengo que tomarlo a través de un dispositivo móvil. ¿Qué es lo único que necesito en mi dispositivo móvil? Cámara e internet. No se preocupen si nuestro dispositivo móvil es del 2017, si no tengo el último modelo de Samsung. No hay problema. Funciona con cualquier equipo del 2016 en adelante.
Y una preguntita más acá. Con respecto a la vigencia de la validez del certificado, me imagino que eso es porque, por ejemplo, hay otros certificados tipo Cambridge u otros que, bueno, muchas veces dicen tienen validez por cierto periodo de tiempo, ¿no? ¿Cómo sería con respecto a English Score?
En English Score, cualquier certificación de British Council tiene una duración de 2 años. ¿Con qué finalidad nosotros tenemos eso? Recordemos que el inglés, si no lo practicamos, lo empezamos a perder. Por lo tanto, mi sugerencia es que lo tomen y esa certificación va a tener una validez de 2 años. Yo personalmente discrepo un poquito con una certificación de por vida, porque, Marielita, si tú a mí me preguntas, yo soy egresada del 2009 de la Universidad Nacional de Trujillo. Y el inglés que hablaba Claudia hace 13 años no es el inglés que hablo ahora. Probablemente en algún momento me he desempeñado en un rubro editorial donde todo el día hablaba en español. Y cuando me encontraba con mis jefes de Inglaterra, quería hablar y ya mi producción oral no era la misma. Es por eso que es importante que la certificación internacional tenga una caducidad. Y en este caso, como les decía, es de 2 años.
Perfecto, perfecto. Entonces sí hay una caducidad que es de 2 años, ¿verdad?
Así es.
Ya está.
Sí.
En todo caso, creo que ya estas son la mayoría de las preguntas.
Marielita, tengo una pregunta de Irving Rendón y nos
Ya.
dice, ¿hay un link para registrarse para obtener el certificado de asistencia al webinar? Me parece que ese es otro link,
Ese
¿verdad?
es otro
No
link,
es el
sí.
link de los certificados.
Sí,
Perfecto.
justamente iba a ello.
Y
Para que
Blanquita
no...
Ormaza nos dice, ¿podría publicar el link para
Está
la
fijado.
certificación? Ya.
Está fijado el link.
Está fijado. Perfecto.
Ujú. Pero también decirles, querida Claudia, y a toda la audiencia, que en un momentito ya estamos ya por mostrar el link para el registro de asistencia, el exit ticket, en donde ustedes van a completar su información. Eso nos va a servir también para que nosotros les enviemos, para que tengan en mayor detalle el tutorial que nos va a dar Claudita, para que ustedes puedan dar este examen, para que ustedes puedan ingresar al link que está fijado. Se los vamos a enviar también al correo correo para que puedan obtener el código y de esa manera obtener su certificado de manera gratuita. Sí, tiene un costo, pero para todos ustedes, para toda la audiencia del día de hoy de English Teachers in Perú, es gratuito gracias a este apoyo que nos está dando el British Council a través de English Score, con el código que van a poder obtener. Así que creo que con esto ya estaríamos terminando ya de despejar las dudas. Una vez más, querida Claudia, no se preocupen por mayores detalles, igual se les va a enviar la información, detalles, tutorial al correo. Una vez más, querida Claudita, muchísimas gracias realmente por haber puesto los ojos en nuestra comunidad de English Teachers in Perú, por esta alianza tan bonita, por este gesto tan bonito, con todos los maestros que se conectan a nuestros webinars, que estoy segurísima lo van a agradecer muchísimo. De hecho, ya están muchos agradeciéndolo desde ahora y muy emocionados con esta novedad y esperamos realmente volverte a tener en lo posterior. Ahora, si me permites, Claudita linda, unos minutitos más para que nos
Claro.
Gracias. Bien, y continuamos entonces en este momento para compartir con ustedes el Exit Ticket. Recuerden que tienen que acceder a este link en un minuto más, ya lo deben estar fijando en el chat de YouTube. Este es el link para que ustedes puedan registrar su asistencia el día de hoy. Para quienes no puedan acceder haciendo clic desde el chat de YouTube, se los repito, https://cutt.ly/ y esta parte que viene tiene que respetar mayúscula y minúscula. Ojo, SPRING en mayúscula, Spring 13, el número 13, y en minúscula TH. Quienes no pueden hacer una captura de pantalla y luego digitar este link en su navegador para que puedan ingresar al formulario. Recuerden que el formulario solamente va a estar abierto durante 15 minutos y que deben de registrar correctamente sus datos para que nosotros podamos enviarles tanto el material de la sesión de hoy día, así como el tutorial, para que ustedes puedan acceder a esta gran oportunidad que nos está dando el British Council a través de English Score, de poder certificar su nivel de inglés con el programa que ya nos han explicado pues cómo utilizarlo, ¿sí? Bien, entonces ahora sí, vamos a pasar al cierre y llegamos al último día, English Teachers in Perú, al último día de nuestro ciclo de webinars. Tienen en pantallas a este maravilloso equipo de maestros, quienes con todo empeño, con toda alegría y con todas las ganas de poder apoyar, han llevado a cabo estas 13 sesiones durante más de 2 meses, que ha llegado a cada uno de sus hogares, que han podido disfrutar. Esperamos que cada sesión haya sido una sesión enriquecedora para cada uno de ustedes. Estamos realmente agradecidos de todo corazón a cada uno de los ponentes, especialistas, A1 que han estado en cada una de nuestras sesiones, quienes han aceptado el poder compartir con nosotros. Muchísimas gracias de parte de todo el equipo administrativo de English Teachers in Perú. Llegó el momento de encender las camaritas, querida Kristel, Claudia, mis queridos administradores que están ahí en este momento, para decirte también de parte de toda la comunidad de English Teachers in Perú, querida Kristel, una vez más, gracias. Realmente muchas gracias de todo corazón. Un súper aplauso para ti, para la brillante presentación de hoy día, siempre dándonos luces de cómo ir trabajando, aclarando nuestras dudas. Muchísimas gracias. Gracias de corazón al British Council, English Score, que ha hecho posible que Kristel esté presente con nosotros el día de hoy. Y gracias Claudia, realmente por haber hecho realidad una necesidad que tienen los maestros. Muchas veces nos preguntan en la comunidad, tenemos esa confianza, nos preguntan cómo pueden conseguir su certificado de nivel, en qué instituciones, cuánto cuesta, cómo haríamos, y realmente creo que lo del día de hoy va a ser un beneficio muy grande. Miles de gracias, y a través de ti, las gracias también al British Council por este gesto. Tal vez algunas palabritas, algún mensaje de despedida, querida Kristel.
Sí, bueno, tú sabes que me encanta hablar. Bueno, primero y antes que todo, Claudita, agradecerte mucho haberme permitido. Yo amo a esta comunidad profundamente, creo que todos lo saben, no lo puedo negar. Y te agradezco mucho, Claudita, haber puesto los ojos en mí y haberme permitido cerrar. Creo que es la primera temporada en la que participo tan activamente, porque creo que he participado en 3 webinars esta vez y me encanta haber cerrado el webinar y haber sido partícipe de este gran apoyo que se les está dando hoy día a los maestros, porque sabemos que todos los que nos acompañan el día de hoy, los maestros que siguen a English Teachers in Perú, son maestros comprometidos que buscan siempre la profesionalización y siempre están preocupados en mejorar sus niveles de inglés, y a veces el tema económico a veces no nos permite sacar las certificaciones que necesitamos o que queremos, ¿no? Y algo importante también que quisiera resaltar es que este apoyo que está dando en este momento English Score a través del British Council es no solamente certificar su nivel de inglés, sino que aquellos que logramos dar el test y que no tenemos un nivel muy alto y que tenemos un nivel un poco bajito, no nos sintamos desmotivados, todo lo contrario, que sea una oportunidad para comprender en qué nivel estamos realmente y sobre eso empezar a avanzar, ¿sí? Entonces, cualquiera que sean las dos situaciones en las que nos podamos encontrar al dar el test, utilicemos estas 10 oportunidades que nos da Claudita para irnos desafiando y poniendo metas cortas e ir mejorando en cada uno de los test que vayamos dando. Agradecer siempre a la comunidad, a todos ustedes por permitirnos siempre compartir, y muchas gracias, maestros, por acompañarnos hasta estas horas como siempre, y
Sí.
agradecida siempre de que me den un espacio para compartir lo poquito que puedo compartir. Muchas bendiciones a todos.
Muchas gracias, querida Kristel, querida Claudia, tal vez un mensajito de despedida para toda la audiencia que todavía está ahí.
Yo quería agradecer por la oportunidad, porque realmente este agradecimiento va de mi lado hacia ustedes. Nosotros recuerden que siempre buscamos nuestro crecimiento. Yo soy una docente también y me siento muy involucrada en poder ayudarnos como equipo. Y creo que esto es lo que somos, esta comunidad es eso. Por lo tanto, para lo que necesiten, confío en que esa no va a ser la primera, ni mucho menos la última. Queremos seguir participando junto a ustedes en muchos más eventos, hagamos más actividades en pro del crecimiento de esta gran comunidad y también de nuestro propio crecimiento. Me encantó lo que dijeron de no nos sintamos desmotivados y probablemente mi nivel en este momento no es el C1 que todos quisieran, pero probablemente identifico en qué nivel me encuentro y como siempre sigamos confiando en que todo va a mejorar y que con nuestro propio esfuerzo vamos a seguir adelante. Por lo tanto, aquí me tienen para lo que requieran. Gracias, Cris, y gracias a todo el equipo. Y espero estar nuevamente juntos en un tiempo muy cortito. Y para lo que necesiten, a todos los profesores que quedaron con dudas, no se olviden, está también mi teléfono ahí y mi correo electrónico. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, querida Claudia. Un aplauso al British Council English Score por esta oportunidad para todos los maestros de inglés. No se preocupen porque están estresados ahí preguntando, por favor, vuelvan a pasar cómo era la aplicación, cómo descargamos, dónde está el link, toda esa información. Si han llenado correctamente, por favor, el exit ticket, que es lo único que tenían que hacer. Ahí está fijado todavía en el chat de YouTube el link, llénenlo, por favor. Se las vamos a enviar también a su correo electrónico con el tutorial para que puedan ingresar, descargar el certificado, obtener el código, y por supuesto que el día de hoy su asistencia también está contabilizando para la constancia de participación que a través de la comunidad les estamos dando por todo este ciclo de webinars. Y bien, ahora estamos aquí presentes también el grandioso equipo que conforma English Teachers in Perú, nuestros administradores de la comunidad, muy queridos todos ellos, nuestra querida Sulamita Chutén Villena ahí presente, nuestra querida Consuelo Aurora Cáceda, quien ha estado a cargo de la presentación el día de hoy, Daisy Apolinario, administradora presente el día de hoy, Jessica Magali Carguavilca, nuestra querida administradora Jessica, Diana, Carla Chafloc, nuestra querida administradora Dianita, quienes también han estado llevando, todos nuestros administradores, el grupo de estudio, elaborando materiales para nombramiento, de manera siempre de manera gratuita, compartiendo. Los administradores tienen un corazón enorme, enorme y sacan tiempo de donde no hay, todos creo, para estar siempre atentos y poder apoyar a todos los maestros que tenemos dentro de la comunidad English Teachers in Perú. Un saludito más, aquí está nuestra querida administradora Gina Soplopuco Rivas, querida Ginita, gracias por la presencia el día de hoy. Estamos cerrando con Catherine Novoa, nuestra administradora feliz, alegre, pilas de la comunidad English Teachers in Perú, nuestro administrador Ricardo Núñez Inostroza, que está presente el día de hoy con nosotros, y detrás de toda la transmisión de estos 13 webinars ha estado con nosotros también nuestro administrador José Ortega. Muchísimas gracias por toda la paciencia, por todos esos impases que por ahí se han dado, ya ha estado solucionando. Gracias a todos en casa, nos vamos a seguir viendo mediante WhatsApp, nuestra comunidad que es grande, Facebook, siempre estamos en contacto. Y miles de gracias una vez más a ti, querida Claudita, Kristel, nos despedimos el día de hoy. Bye bye, English Teachers.